Hello and welcome, Woodrow Wilson friends, family, and students. This is Ms. Fields here, and I'm joining you tonight for our 21st episode of Math Toolbox. Tonight we're going to be elaborating on a skill that we worked on in a previous video of changing data tables into ordered pairs, and we're going to be applying that skill in plotting ordered pairs onto a coordinate plane. Now when I say coordinate plane, I'm referring to something that looks like this. This is the first quadrant of a coordinate plane, and it has an x-axis which goes from left to right, and a y-axis which goes from top to bottom, but all of the numbers are positive. Now our graph stops here at the origin where these two axes intersect. This is 0, 0, our origin. In 6th grade, this graph is going to expand into having 4 quadrants in which the x-axis and the y-axis will have negative numbers. But for 5th grade, we're only building a foundation on plotting points, so we will only focus on the first quadrant of this coordinate plane. Now looking over here, when we're talking about problems with coordinate planes, there's always going to be a data table of some sort. Now this data table over here is a vertical data table. The data points are graphed vertically. However, there are other data tables in which the data points are graphed horizontally. In a vertical data table, we know that on the left side, this represents the x-coordinate, and on the right side, this represents the y-coordinate. We also know that every single time you make an ordered pair, there is always one x-coordinate and one y-coordinate, and they go together like a couple. We group them with parentheses on the side and a comma in between. In addition to those factors, we also know that the x-coordinate always comes first and the y-coordinate always comes second in graphing. That being said, as we're looking from top to bottom on our data table, we know that 5 and 7 make an ordered pair, 9 and 9 make an ordered pair, 12 and 11 make an ordered pair, and 14 and 13 make an ordered pair. Now when we're talking about graphing these ordered pairs, we know that because the x-coordinate comes first, this is the lady, we like to joke in 5th grade, this is the lady of our ordered pair, and she likes to slide. Now by slide, I mean she likes to move to the right on the x-axis until she reaches her digit. Now in this instance, we've got 5, 7. So we know that this lady, she was going to slide 5 units on the x-axis. Now when we're talking about the man in the relationship, the 7, we know that he likes to drive. He only moves forward on the y-axis, as many units as he needs to until he gets to his digit. And in the ordered pair 5, 7, that digit is 7. Once we slide 5, drive 7, we plot our point, and then we label it. Moving on to the next ordered pair, we've got 9 and 9. We know on the left that that's our x-coordinate, and as we start at the origin, we slide 9 units to the right, and then from there we drive 9 units up the y-axis. Then we plot our point. In addition to plotting our point, we always remember to label it. Now these labels, in addition to having 5, 7, or 9, 9, our 5th graders may encounter plotted points that have labels that are letters. So instead of 5, 7, you might label it A. Instead of 9, 9, you might label it C. It really just depends on the mathematician. Moving on to our next ordered pair, we know that the left side is our x-coordinate, the right side is our y-coordinate. We can see that it's 12 for our x-coordinate, so starting at the origin, we slide 12 units to the right, and from there we drive 11 units up the y-axis till we get to 11, and then we plot our point, which is 12, 11. Last ordered pair, we've got 14, 13. Starting on the origin again, we slide 14 units to the right, and then we drive 13 units up the y-axis, and then we plot our point. Again, I want to emphasize that when we are plotting our points, we make sure that we have parentheses. We also make sure that there's a comma in between each of the digits so that we know that they're separated. This is not 57, this is 5 and 7. And this also cues our mathematician, whoever's looking at your graph, that the digit on the left is your x-coordinate and the digit on the right is your y-coordinate. Now, not only can we plot our points on a coordinate plane, we can also interpret the data based on whatever our axes are labeled as. So if we look at our data table, we see that our x-axis is the hours spent reading, and on the y-axis is the number of books read. So in looking at our data points, if you read 5 hours, the person read 7 books. If you read 9 hours, a person may read 9 books. If you read 12 hours, a person may read 11 books. And if you read 14 hours, a person may read 13 books. Now, that being said, this is also a scientific skill. People and mathematicians and scientists, they're expected to interpret this data. So I'm seeing, if I start at the origin, these plotted points are moving upwards. That tells me that the more time spent reading, the number of books that you have read will increase. This trend is positive. It's pointing upward. Now, if the data points were moving downward, that would tell us that the more time you spend reading, the less books that you read. However, our data suggests that the more hours you read, the more number of books that you're going to read, which is also pretty interesting. Again, this video is building on the previous video, which talked about changing data tables into ordered pairs. Our video tonight focused on changing those ordered pairs into plotted points on a coordinate plane. In addition, also being able to interpret that data, which is a scientific skill and a mathematical skill that's never going to go away. Again, if you're having any trouble in doing this skill, please contact me in class or rewatch the other instructional videos. I appreciate you spending time with me to practice this skill tonight, and I can't wait to see you in the morning. Have a great night.